History is filled with empires that were conquered with the sword, but only a few learned how to conquer the mind. When we think of cruelty in the ancient world, our imagination often drifts to Rome. The roaring crowds in the Colosseum, gladiators fighting to the death, crucifixions by the roadside, and slaves auctioned like cattle. Rome was brutal, that's undeniable. But eastward, beyond the deserts and mountains, rose another power, older, wealthier, and perhaps even darker, the Achaemenid Persian Empire. The Persians ruled not only with armies, but with terror wrapped in gold. Their power was not just about conquering lands, it was about conquering souls. They understood something the Romans never fully mastered, that true domination isn't just breaking a man's body, it's breaking his spirit, his pride, and even his family. Cyrus, Darius, Xerxes. Names etched into stone, spoken with reverence or fear. These were not mere rulers. They called themselves Shahanshah, the King of Kings. Their power stretched from the Indus Valley to the Mediterranean, from Egypt to the mountains of Anatolia. But to keep such a vast empire under control, they needed more than soldiers. They needed submission, total and absolute. And so, the Persians learned to turn conquest into art, and cruelty into a message. They didn't just crush enemies, they erased them. Their victims weren't always soldiers. Often they were the wives, daughters, and children of fallen kings, the symbols of dynasties that once ruled proudly. The battlefield ended wars. The palace finished them. To outsiders, the Persian royal harem might have seemed like a paradise. Silks, perfumes, music, gold. But for the women inside, it was a beautiful prison. Imagine being a queen, daughter of kings, wife of rulers. You've lived surrounded by splendor, with jewels in your hair and power in your words. Then your city falls. Your husband is dragged away in chains. Your palace burns. And you, instead of being executed or sold like a Roman slave, are taken into the harem of the Persian king. At first it might seem merciful, but the truth was far darker. You are now a living trophy, proof that the King of Kings owns not just your land, but your bloodline. You cannot leave. You cannot speak freely. Your name fades from memory, replaced by silence and obedience. Your very existence becomes a reminder to every visitor of Persia's dominance. The message was unmistakable. Your dynasty is mine. Your future belongs to me. 539 BC, the year Babylon fell. The city was immense, its walls legendary, its temples unmatched. But when Cyrus the Great marched in, not a sword was lifted. The Persians claimed to have entered peacefully, yet peace did not mean mercy. King Nabonidus, the last ruler of Babylon, was taken captive. His royal family, his wife, his daughters, his court, were absorbed into Cyrus's empire. They didn't die. They disappeared. Their royal identity was dissolved into the vast Persian system. The Babylonian bloodline extinguished without a drop spilled. Their women, symbols of their nation, now lived beneath Persian rule, behind the veil of the harem. This was not conquest by war. This was conquest by possession. Among the cruelest tales ever told of Persian royalty is that of Queen Amestris, wife of Xerxes I, the same Xerxes who fought at Thermopylae against the Spartans. Xerxes was powerful, feared, and arrogant. But his wife, Amestris, was something else entirely: cunning, jealous, and merciless. One day Xerxes became infatuated with the wife of his own brother, Mastus. When she rejected his advances, Xerxes, in twisted logic, arranged for his own son to marry her daughter, just to be near her family. When Queen Amestris discovered her husband's desire, she was consumed by rage. But she didn't take revenge on Xerxes. She took it on the woman. In a horrific act of vengeance, Amestris demanded the woman be brought to her, and there she ordered her nose, ears, lips, and breasts to be cut off. The mutilated woman was then sent back to her husband, a broken, ruined shadow of the queen she once was. Mastus, humiliated beyond measure, rebelled, but Xerxes crushed him and slaughtered his family. In one act of cruelty, an entire bloodline was erased. This wasn't just personal vengeance. It was the Persian message made flesh. Defy us, and we will not only kill you, we will destroy what makes you human. The Persians knew that punishment had to be public, spectacular. Rebel kings were impaled on stakes for all to see. Bodies hung along roads leading to capital cities, rotting in the desert sun. Wives and children were sometimes executed alongside them, their corpses displayed to warn others. This was terror as policy. The Behistun inscription, carved into a mountainside by Darius the Great, stands as eternal proof. The carvings show defeated kings tied, bound, and humiliated, their names forever associated with disgrace. It wasn't merely a monument. It was propaganda carved in stone, a message that echoed through eternity. Defy Persia, and you will vanish. The Romans enslaved, the Persians ensnared. The Romans broke bodies, the Persians broke identities. By mutilating queens, they destroyed beauty, the symbol of grace and fertility in every culture. By taking defeated women into their harems, they erased royal lines, replacing them with children of Persian blood. And by punishing entire families, they ensured rebellion became an act of generational suicide. Who would dare rise up when it meant seeing their daughters enslaved and their queens defaced? This was not cruelty for cruelty's sake. It was cruelty with a purpose: control through hopelessness. Rome was the empire of chains. Persia was the empire of shadows. Even now, thousands of years later, the Persian legacy still commands awe. The roads, the architecture, the administration that shaped empires to come. But beneath the marble and the gold lies something far more haunting. A truth rarely spoken, that the Persians conquered not just nations, but memories. They destroyed what could never be rebuilt: hope, legacy, and pride. History often remembers their glory, but in the silence of those ancient palaces where broken queens once wept behind jeweled curtains, another story lingers, one written not in ink but in tears, because the most terrifying power of all is not the sword on the battlefield. It's the quiet cruelty that comes after